Alright, it is 9:44 a.m. and I had one trade with CGRA, and this setup actually worked. I think this helped break, I think, the really bad streak that I've been having recently and bad luck, but this setup just really worked. So CGRA had a big sell-off yesterday. It was in the afternoon, which wasn't really ideal because, in theory, if this thing were to have happened at like 9:30 right here and it starts to panic, it could be something super nice over the entire day. But it was in the afternoon, so it didn't really bounce. But it did mean that it had a gap up today, and it did have a morning spike, which was cool. And maybe in theory, I could have considered something like this. I don't know. I've seen some that have a big sell off at the end, and then you think, oh, it might try to turn around tomorrow, but then it has like a bigger gap down. It sells off even more. So that's a bit too risky for me. But when it was showing that it was trying to do a morning spike, I was looking at it, and I was thinking maybe a buy at the round number of 5 cents breaking out, but it was just too scary, and it had like a little wick that went all the way back to five. So I wouldn't have really have traded this one too well. I want to see if this one can actually hold above the 6 cent level and continue the uptrend over a longer period of time. It could do something like that. It did break above this tiny, I mean not miney, resistance level right here at 587, and then the round number of 6. So yeah, this thing can't continue the uptrend. But anyway, I did trade this because it looked like a bull flag setup. And, I've seen this work so many times. It doesn't always work, of course, but I was in this situation where I took the trade, even though this thing is kind of scary the way it trades. It can just look really nice at once and then look really bad. It kind of reminds me of GTII a very long time ago while it was still uptrending way back here. It just had that same kind of price action where it's either all in the up direction and then the next few minutes all in the other direction. So very scary the way that one was trading. But I knew that if I wasn't going to take the setup and whether it works or not, I was going to be pretty upset. So I did take this for a bull flag. Again, a very nice morning spike. A lot of potential for it to spike because it's been down so much from the previous day, and it's already proven itself that it can uptrend. So once we were starting to see some downtrending price action, and it was trading around the VWAP level as well, it wasn't too bad. I did take a buy at 941, which was right here, and I bought 3,500 shares at 564. So I was in it right here at 941, and I was risking VWAP. So if it was looking like it was going to break under, I think it was 547, the VWAP level, I would have been cutting the trade. Worst case scenario, I think I would have been now at 5 cents, and I did have $100 risk low. I thought worst case scenario, it just has a big ugly red candle, breaks under VWAP, it has a panic, and then I'm not able to cut losses because of slippage and have to place a second order and all of that. So I thought worst case scenario I would be out at 3 cents, which might be a little too extreme, but I think maybe over time if I can keep seeing setups work out, I can gain more confidence and try to be more aggressive on my risk level. So I did sell 500 shares at 592, and that was at 943 when it was uptrending and showing signs that it was going to do something nice. So I was out at 592, 500 shares, and that was just to sell some in case that it maybe uptrends just a little bit, and then it just downtrends and starts heading towards the bottom. And it wasn't like a full position, but I figured it would help if have to cut losses quickly. I at least have a portion that I sold for a profit. And then I sold the rest at 944, which was right here in this candle at 604. So that was right here. I like how it broke above 6 and everything, but it was just kind of scary. Again, you can see how it has like a big red candle that's pretty wide, and then this big green candle. That's been the majority of the stock, and now it's at 64, which is much higher than my best sell at 604, but that's totally fine. That's something that maybe with more experience and confidence I can consider holding a piece for a longer period of time perhaps. But overall, I'm happy with it. It was a bull flag setup. It got to the day high, and that's where I sold at the day high roughly. And as you can see right now, it's even made a move above the day high, which is cool too. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. There isn't really anything else that I'm watching. except for NWBO, but this one didn't really offer a lot of opportunity. I would have had to have bought at 83 and a half once it was showing signs of a turnaround, and then it only gets to 84, and VWAP is right there, so this one didn't really offer much. Maybe a morning panic bounce play double bottom setup could be forming here, or like a lower low if it continues to drop some more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was just looking at CGRA, and I'll make an update later. I probably will be looking at NWBO. All right, it is 11:55 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I'm going to be up on a day, 13 bucks and 40 cents. Really happy that this trade here happened. It kind of broke the bad luck streak, I feel like, and was a very successful trade with CGRA, and it went much higher than where I bought it. It really uptrended. This was the setup, and I'll get rid of extended hours so it looks a bit clearer, but this was the bull flag setup, and again, I was going to be pretty upset whether it worked out or not if I didn't take part of this, because it just seems like something I've seen so many times work out. And yeah, I was selling it right when it was looking like it was going to do that uptrend, and then maybe try to be a top somewhere once it was getting above the day high around the 6 cent level in the day high. So I did sell the rest for that reason. Sure, maybe I could have had like a trend line, right? Maybe from this to this candle, and then that would have allowed me to hold longer, but I'm actually quite fine with it because it did get to a resistance level, and it was trading a bit iffy right here, kind of scary with the widespread and these three candles right here, before it started to get a bit higher. But yeah, that could be something with more experience I can be able to hold on to for a longer period of time. And that was pretty much it. I went off to do other things. It did do a dip under VWAP, which wouldn't have been too horrible of a setup, but this looks kind of hard to trade. As you can see, with the price action, it has like this wick all the way above VWAP, which would have probably thrown me off of this trade. And then we had this wick almost to the low right here, so that would have been kind of scary. I don't know. I mean, in theory, it looks like a setup that I would take, but then when I see this big green candle, I think I would have not have been very happy with that price action and then just avoided it completely. Nothing interesting with this one. Nothing interesting with that one. No volume. And WBO, I was watching this for a morning panic bounce play double bottom setup, and that is what ended up being a double bottom. It just would have been very hard because I would have had to have been in at 82 and a half, and then it did get to VWAP, which was 84, but as you can see, the bottom of the candles was 83. So, and and just realistically speaking, I would have been in at 82 and a half, best entry, and then maybe a sell at the beta at 83. That wouldn't have been much profitability, not much room for mistakes or anything like that. So even though it looks like something in the chart here, it really wasn't that nice. It did uptrend the rest of the day, but there's nothing there that I'm too interested in. This one, no interest, but I do like how it is trying to break above, I believe this 140 or this 150 level, and it was trying to do that, but then it kind of lost that momentum. And this one is really interesting. It just this is not how an OTC trades, but this was just very interesting to look at. I remember there was somebody who said that their idea in terms of shorting these things is to wait for the first red candle, which would have been here. So maybe a short right here, and then you get destroyed on the uptrend. It did right there. Not something I trade, but very interesting to look at and learn from. That's pretty much it. Just that one trade with CGRA, and I did well for the most part. I even had the right amount of shares according to $100 risk level. That's it for today.